studies, about 60 some now, are peer reviewed, and
Mhm.
some of them definitely are showing that it has no effect, but there's some that show a huge effect, and it's mainly the low early dose. So people need to look at that and start really pressuring the health people to stop withholding hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and maybe even things like quercetin. But they shut down. Uh, Dr. Ng and Dr. Brownstein, after Dale Bigtree interviewed them, the Federal Trade Commission of all people, of all agencies, came in and shut them down, made them take down all their blogs, and their YouTube channels went private and stuff like that. The censorship is just rampant on this now. They
Yes.
were mainly using injectable vitamin C, IV vitamin C, and nebulized hydrogen peroxide, but they were claiming 100% success rate with that. So the censorship is just crazy, rampant. Control of the media. I think if enough people found out about that, that would probably by itself destroy the Democratic Party because they've literally killed, in America alone, probably 60,000 people are dead because of minimum. Maybe
Yes.
more than that, maybe closer
Well,
to
I don't think it
100,000.
was the Democratic Party. The war against hydroxychloroquine is coming from the pharmaceutical industries that want to come out with their latest and greatest new patentable market exclusivity product.
Well, because Trump endorsed it, the Democrats jumped on that bandwagon big time. I mean,
True.
this one congressman was on The View a couple of months ago, and Joey Bier just trashed him like, "Oh, I can't believe anybody with half a brain would take that drug." And they rigged studies to kill people is what it looks like. I mean, some of the health people like that Dr. John Campbell out of National Health Service in England, he won't come out and say it, but he says, why did they get it so wrong? How did Oxford and the World Health Organization, how did they get it so wrong? And I genuinely think he probably is trying to softball it because he says that he shied away from it because it was so controversial more than he should have. He's got a video in the last couple of weeks up about it, and the Belgian study that shows a solid 30% reduction in death rate.
Mm-hmm.
And that particular study doesn't even look at zinc as a cofactor. But anyway, that's the main topics I wanted to touch on there. So I'll let you get back to your train of thought.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the phone call, and we're going to switch over to Glenn in Philadelphia. Hello, Glenn. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I was listening to what you said about the test they were doing on the B-52s. Power,
Yes.
it really isn't an issue. The 52's been in service for 65 years now, and it's been retrofitted all sorts of ways and everything. It's got to be the oldest, airframe that's designed anywhere in the world at this point, I would. But no, the issue isn't power supply for those things. But the one problem is that in order for the bombs to deploy, they'll have to be.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello? I think we lost him. All right, let's switch over to Dustin in New Jersey. Hello, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Doing all right.
I'm going to respond. This was from Friday. Okay, with Dave. I think it was Dave, maybe Thursday, but he called in from another state on Friday. I think. I don't know what his deal is, but because I know he says, "Am I wearing my mask?" But Dave was actually right though, in terms of it's two sides of the same coin. Trump ain't going to fix nothing, and neither is Biden. Just going to keep the status quo. You know that.
Yes.
By writing in Claire's name. But I'm going to jump to Joe, Miles, Tom. I mean, I like Joe when he calls in. Some of the stuff he's right on, some of the stuff he's wrong on, just like them all. But I'm thinking about Joe. You keep moving. He moves the goalpost, Mike. Trump called himself, remember, a law and order president.
Yes.
Not a disorder president. Nothing's been done about all these riots still, right? Like people are getting hurt. Damage is being done. Well, You call yourself a law and order president and do something about it. Now, if you don't want to do anything about it because you want to blame Biden to win the election or blame the Democrats, which they deserve blame because they're crap. The Republicans are crap too. We know that. But I mean, if you're a law and order president, you need to fix the problem. You don't sit back. But the problem with Joe is he moves the goalpost. They all do, Mike. Like, you know, he went from law and order president. Remember, he called in a couple times freaking out. Why isn't he Trump doing? Remember? You remember that. Why isn't Trump doing this? Why is Trump? And then he goes, Trump's a genius for not doing anything. Well, he's the president of the United States. He should be doing something, right? You just can't stand by and let all this damage go on for political reasons. That's what it is, right? That's for political reasons. Now, he should put his foot down and do what he's got to do to stop the violence. But Tom and Miles, the same. They just can't see past. They have like it's hard to say that it's a cult belief, like with people who believe in Hillary. With Miles and them all. The indictments aren't here. You heard Miles the other day, right? Like he made excuses for the indictments not coming. And we know, Mike, they're not coming. And by the way, Mike, Peter Strzok, he wasn't indicted, right? What happened to him? He wrote a book. He wrote a book. Didn't he do a GoFundMe page too? I mean, can you see the writing on the wall with that? You know, it's like the breadcrumbs are as big as the mountains. You know, I mean, it's just nothing's going to be done to do anything against with these people. So I'm saying, you know, why do people keep thinking Trump's going to do? I mean, Trump today had this thing with Benjamin Netanyahu and United Arab Emirates. And Mike, I would have rather see some kind of infrastructure bill on the lawn than this thing. This thing is a nothing burger to me.
Well, to you, but to Jewish Americans, it's a real big deal. And, you know, Trump pulled this off at this particular time, you know, to win the Jewish vote.
Mike, that's not a big deal right now. If you live in Israel, they're kind of having a lot of protests. I don't think it's a big deal to like most regular Jewish people, right? Like it's a big deal to a certain class of Israelis or Jewish Americans. But the mainstream American, like if you're a typical Jewish American, you don't really give a crap, you know, because it doesn't affect your day-by-day life here, right? I mean, you go to the store, you got to work, you know, you do that. But I mean, this was a big nothing burger. I would have rather seen something like about an infrastructure bill to fix things. But I mean, I want you to think. Do you really think anything's going to happen when he wins the next 4 years? If he does, I mean, I just think it's going to be the status quo because Bill Barr is there and the rest of the gang, just to continue this nothingness, you know, of declining.
No, I don't think things are going to be much better. You know, Trump has shown what Trump is really all about. I just think Biden would be a lot worse. Yeah.
Well, you know, Mike, by the way, I was on YouTube like the other day. I watched classic car commercials from 1950s.
Yeah.
What a great, I mean, you look back like Chrysler and this, I'm like those days, and this is to Miles and Miles brought this up like last 2 weeks ago. Those days are never coming back, man. That days of America being that is way long gone. I mean, I just watched them like, oh yeah. You know, when Mike Moore did the Flint, Michigan, I mean, Roger and me, you knew those days are not coming back.
Yes.
Ever.
Yep.
You know, and then you also look at what's going on with the China GDP is doing pretty good. We're not doing so hot, man. You know,
no, we're not. No, we're not.
Yeah. I mean, I know Al from Canada. I mean, he brings up the Federal Reserve also a lot. You know, like look at the amount of they're buying like they're still buying like all the bad bonds and debt, and they're just buying all the crap still. Like nothing's been fixed. Like with Trump, Mike, I go back. There's no infrastructure bill. Where's all the Trump talks about the rigged elections and stuff, but there's no fixing of anything. There's no fixing of like anything. Nothing. You know, like it's just, you know what it is? There's talk of maybe bringing it up, but there's no actual anything. I know Trump did that thing with the prices for drugs.
Yes.
But he didn't really do anything because that was just an executive order for them to look into doing something, right? So,
well, no, what he did was he declared the United States to be a most favored nation, and that imposes certain restrictions on the prices that Big Pharma can charge American people. So I think it's actually going to have a little bit of an effect.
I hope so, Mike, because we need something. I mean, I'm thinking like you got a 20% unemployment rate, right, in this country? I mean, we're in bad shape. People need some kind of help. Shape. And you got the Republicans and the Democrats. That's both groups, Tom, not just the two sides of the same coin, the yin and the yang. You need two to tango, and they're not doing anything to fix any. You look, they don't care about the average just worker. They're just debating, and you know where they go after they debate, Mike? To that gentleman's club.
Yes.
Right? For dinner or whatever. And I don't know, do I still have time for my rant, or I'm going to get off the phone?
Well, I think you need to get off the phone because we got a bunch of callers waiting on the line, and I still have news I want to get to.
All right, Mike, have a good night.
All right, thanks an awful lot. Glenn in Philadelphia is back, and Glenn, you were cut off while you were explaining to us about nuclear weapons and B-52s, and yes, it's true. The B-52 airframe is a venerable workhorse.
Yeah, it's been around 65 years. It's the world's heaviest production aircraft. They have especially reinforced the runways, and they take it off first, and then they have to put the fuel on the wings, because if they tried to fuel it, it wouldn't get off the ground. So the air has to hold up the wings before they fill the tanks. It's interesting. But they've been retrofitted every which way with, engines and avionics and all that sort of thing. However, so power is no issue. Power supply is no issue for deploying these bombs. The issue is that in order for them, for the bombs to be deployed and released, they have to be ridden by a crew member wearing a cowboy hat. and so it's a bit of a sacrificial issue there.
Yeah, I'm sure they can find volunteers.
Yeah, more than one way. Yeah, I was glad the previous caller asked about it. It's kind of frustrating when you're waiting in the queue and the callers keep going, oh, and another thing, oh, and another thing, oh, and another thing, and they turn themselves into mini guests and pontificate. It's like, come on, make a point or two and then move on. But anyway. Oh yeah, and by the way, it's nanometer, not nanometer.
Okay.
While we're doing it, it's nanometer, not nanometer. A meter, like a speedometer is the ometer thing is usually for a device, a speedometer.
Well, I stand corrected.
Whatever. Yeah, it's very good. But well, at least you're correctable. Oh yeah, and about the funding, $10 a month on PayPal, you won't even notice it gone.
I'll notice.
If we could get a few thousand people doing $10 a month, you're not even gonna, not even gonna notice it, and it will do a world of good. Thank you, Mike. Bye.
Thank you very much for the phone call. Thank you very much for the plug. And yeah, we do need the help right now. And $10 a month through PayPal would do a world of good. Getting our equipment updated, getting it replaced, because that all does wear out. I mean, if you think about how long we're on the air every single day, every day of the week, every week of the year. All right, we're going to switch over to David in Boston. Hello, David. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, aloha, Michael. Hey, it's funny that with the previous caller, what was his name? Glenn, the previous caller?
Yeah.
Whoa, boy, somebody's going up here, boy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, somebody put something on the stove like and it exploded. But yeah, anyways, Mike, yeah, it's funny he mentioned the thing about another thing and all that. There's a lady back here in Boston. She has a talk show on Saturday. Her name's Nancy Shack, and the name of her show is. And the name of her show is actually Another Thing, and Another Thing is the name of her show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a talk show. It's a talk show. Nancy Shack, her name is. But oh hey, if I can redeem myself with Miles from Maine, You know, it's so easy, as you probably well know, Michael, being a talk show host, it's so easy to be misunderstood. But yesterday when I was talking about, like, voting for, if I voted at all, I'd vote for a third-party candidate and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, Mike, when I came of voting age, the old man, and, you know, there's only two kinds of men, you know, there's men that refer to their father as dad, and there's men that refer to their father as the old man. So I refer to my father as the old man. But the old man said to me, you know, I was indifferent to voting when I was a young man. He said, you know, he says, Dave, get out and vote, he says, because if you ever need any help from a politician, if you ever get into a bind, or you need some sort of, and he was on the fire department, and, you know, firefighters usually politically connected to a certain extent and everything. He says, if you ever need a favor from one of these politicians, you need a politician to go to bat for you, the first thing they do is check the voter rolls to see if you're an active voter. So just get down and vote, no matter who you vote for. Be an active voter. But anyways,
hey, David, I got to put you on hold. David, I got to put you on hold. We got to take a break for commercials. Don't hang up. I'm going to come right back to you after these words from our sponsors.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new EaseOff Model EZ4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The EaseOff lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the EaseOff? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my EaseOff?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry, because we are offering $200 off on the new EZ4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows, too. EaseOff LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
Welcome back to our show here. And just for a moment, I want you to consider how many millions and millions of dollars the paid liars are spending to convince you there are no arsonists on the West Coast, that it's all global warming, various other deceptions that you're being fed on a daily basis. And all we're asking for here is for each of our listeners to send in just a few dollars, to keep Republic Broadcasting here on the air, speaking truth to power. So once again, the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. Okay, we're talking with David in Boston. And David, if you could just sort of pick up where you left off.
Oh yeah, Mike. Yeah. So anyways, Mike, I'm kind of responding to Miles, but what the deal was, I used to try, sometimes vote for nobody, and I wouldn't mark anything on the ballot and everything. But the machine won't take an unmarked ballot. It rejects it and everything. So then I started putting writing a little bit on the side or something, and they still wouldn't take it. So you have to fill in one of the ovals, at least one, for the machine to take it. So I wasn't really advocating necessarily everybody voting for a third party, but with me, I've never been into the Republicans and the Republicrats and everything. So I can remember, voting Howard Phillips and Harry Brown and Cynthia. I heard of Cynthia McPhinney and Chuck Baldwin, and so I just so if I can redeem myself a little bit with Miles, I wasn't actually advocating anything. I was just saying it's just what I do, But and then one other thing, Mike, I was kind of ragging on Tricky Trump yesterday. But another thing that is a bone in my quarrel or whatever with Trump is he led us to believe that when the expiration date came up, what was it, last spring or something? The spring, maybe the year before last or something. When the expiration date came up on the JFK, classified archives and everything, all that classified information, he led us to believe when it expired, he was just going to let it expire and force the government to reveal who, and in my opinion, who really killed President Kennedy and everything. They know who really killed him.
Of course.
Yeah, and then he betrayed us. He stabbed us in the back again. They released a few crumbs or something, whatever you might call it. Some insignificant
limited hangout is the term of craft.
Huh?
Limited hangout is what they call it.
Yeah. So this, and so he signed it to continue to keep the real important stuff secret. For example, like who really killed President Kennedy and everything. But anyways, Mike, another term I've come up with that I like personally. Sometimes I come up with stuff, and I kind of enjoy the stuff I come up with, Mike, my own material. But what I'm going to start referring. I referred to his cowardly attack on Qasem Soleimani and everything, and then the Jewish cop there shooting Jacob Blake in the back 7 times and everything. But I'm going to start referring to I say Trump he Palestined Qasem Soleimani, that Jewish cop in Kenosha. He Palestined Jacob Blake. And the more I think about it, they're Palestining Yemen, they're Palestining Iraq, they're Palestining Syria, they're Palestining Afghanistan.
They're Palestining America.
Exactly, Mike. That's what I'm going to keep referring to it now. We're being. That's what I was leading up to. We're being Palestined, and you see, even Antifa and Black Lives Matter, they're like many Palestinians just throwing rocks and stuff on these heavily armored riot police, heavy body armor and heavy weaponry and everything. And they're like a bunch of Palestinians now, throwing rocks at them and stuff and everything. Even a Molotov cocktail or something. But we're being Palestine. So that's what I'm going to keep referring to. All these unarmed white men and I'll just finish up with this, Mike. That I despise Trump because I'm sick of what he's doing for we're boasting about what he's doing for blacks and Latinos and women and the LGBT community. Hey, Trump, what about what's become the permanent white underclass? Poor white people. Where Miles is from. There's so much poverty up in Maine and all down through Appalachia. There's a permanent white underclass in this country now, Mike. But Trump isn't going to address that. He won't even say the word white. He wouldn't even say the word white. They're afraid that white is political suicide. But now,
yeah, they are. Anyway, David, listen, we're at another commercial break here, and I'm going to have to let you go because we've got other callers and I've got other news. We'll be right back after these few words.
Aloha, Mike.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Extend your life with Extendovite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, hawthorn, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Each herb was chosen for their abilities to help improve irregular heartbeats, chest pain, lower cholesterol, as well as normalize blood pressure and clean and strengthen arteries, plus much, much more. Doctors have taken people off of some or all of their pills just because they believe their patients got better while taking Extendovite. Get the dependability of Extendovite. Just see how you feel in 6 months. A 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid is only $69.95 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Is your property a financial burden and causing you grief? Have you tried to sell but can't find buyers? Or are you just too busy to sell your property? Don't worry, we have the right solution for you. We buy properties as is, with cash, close in 30 days, and pay all closing costs. Our service is ideal for property owners who are in pre-foreclosure, have high-end repair costs, experiencing financial hardship, going through costly divorces, are relocating, need cash for retirement, suffering family loss, or have tax liens. Whatever your situation may be, we can help you sell your property and get the money you need. If you own a single-family home or multiple family units, call us for a free consultation at 888-910-1037. That's 888-910-1037. Or visit our website at cachingproperty.com. That's cachingproperty.com. Sell your property fast and leave all your worries behind.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Joe in Nome, Alaska. Hello, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
I've heard you use this phrase before. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Yes.
I never really got the point of that joke. I assume it's a joke, but actually sitting here waiting for you to recognize me here today, I think I figured it out. What the joke is, but it isn't really a joke. Did I?
No, it isn't.
Ever recite Afghanistan, Graveyard of Empires,
yes.
Business. Did I ever recite that Rudyard Kipling poem about Afghanistan to you?
The soldiers lament, I think, on Afghanistan's plains, and the women come out to cut up what remains. Roll on your rifle and blow out your brains and go to your God.
Go to your God like a soldier.
Okay. Do you like Kipling? Ask me if I like Kipling.
Yeah.
No,
sure.
you asked me if I like Kipling.
Oh. Good. I recited that poem to the Nome City Council and Graveyard of Empires, chiefly because that's where Alexander the Great, pedophile, met his Waterloo. The mayor's gay, but whatever. I got issues there. But on 9/11, as far as rhyming or the significance of, I believe that was Rome suffered its greatest defeat on 9/11. It happens to be the Ethiopian and the Coptic calendar's New Year is on September 11th. And there's a couple of other notables there also. I'm an artist, a blue collar artist, but and I do a little rapping. I think it was that rapper Ludacris's birthday was September 11th. But no, here, let me get a little more serious here. We got the overthrow of democratically elected government of Salvador Allende was on September 11th. William Wallace and Andrew Moray defeat the English in Scotland there on September 11th. The Ottoman forces in 1565 retreat from the Great Siege of Malta. So yeah, I'm an iconoclast, and I did a little research on that. And there was in the waning days of Greece, there was a government called the Iconoclasts, and they abolished churches. Now, I'm all about that. So as far as me, Isaac Newton was a scientist.
Yes.
Right?
So I've heard.
So I've heard too. He's also devoutly religious. But the point being, and I've been saying this for quite a while, that science, as is practiced today, whatever, science is just another religion these days.
Unfortunately, you are correct, especially when it comes to like the climate gate. Right. Scientists have been adopted as the new priesthood by the power elite. They traded in their priestly robes for a white lab coat and their holy scriptures for a clipboard. but otherwise their job is the same, is to convince the common people that what the rulers are doing is the right thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been saying that for a long time, but I also add the caveat that religion is just another science remembered dimly. And anyway, let me get on with a few of these other quotes. That was my bit on the iconoclast. On 9/11, Greece and Turkey mixing it up again over offshore gas destroyed the Hagia Sophia last week.
No, they didn't destroy the Hagia Sophia. It was merely reverting back to being a mosque.
Oh, okay. Well,
all right. Listen,
all right.
Joe, we're really running short on time, and I got a bunch of callers, and I got a story I really want to get to. So thanks an awful lot for the phone call. And before we go back to the phones here, this story started yesterday, and I really wanted to get to it today. Astronomers find possible sign of life on Venus, and apparently traces of a molecule known as phosphine have been found in the acidic atmosphere of Venus, providing a tantalizing clue about the possibility of life. Now, phosphine molecules found on Earth are primarily a result of human industry or the actions of microbes that thrive in oxygen-free environments. And so everybody's all excited. Life on Venus, life on Venus. I wish they were as excited about life on Mars, but of course, we're aiming for that next February anyway. So they're already talking about a new mission to go on out there and sample the atmosphere and confirm the presence of phosphine, because it would be a strong indicator that some form of extraterrestrial life, totally alien to Earth, is alive in the upper levels of the atmosphere of Venus. All right, we're going to go back to the phones here to Kelly in Austin. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi there. Just addressing what your last caller made. Science is not a religion, but scientism is.
Yes.
That's become something that true believers have embraced. I am a scientist. I have a PhD in geochemistry. I know damn well what science is. And I take offense at the suggestion that science is a religion. Scientism is. And if you want to see a practitioner of that, look at Al Gore.
That's a good clarification. That's a very good clarification.
Right. Now, about Dustin, he constantly whines about Trump not doing anything. He says, like, what's changed? Like what's changed? Listen, Trump is he's not a dictator. He's the president of the United States, and his role in the government is strictly defined and limited by the Constitution. He cannot decree that things be done. What he wants to do takes the cooperation of the legislative branch, which is fractured and is not there, it seems, to represent the interests of their constituents. If you could get both houses of Congress to cooperate with Trump, a lot of what Dustin wants to see done and what I want to see done would get done, but you're not seeing it. And it also requires that at least one house of Congress stop running to the damn court system to try to thwart everything he's trying to do every time he does something. So to me, the idea that you could blame this on Trump, like Trump hasn't done anything. Well, yes, he's tried, but he has to work within a system. He can't work outside the system, and it requires other parts of that system to cooperate, and they're just not cooperating.
No, they aren't.
That's all I got to say about it. I mean, I'm getting tired of that incessant whining about Trump not doing anything. He has tried, and every time he's tried to do something, Nancy Pelosi or somebody else, some other idiot, has tried to thwart him in Congress. And how many times have Democrats gone to the courts to try to stop things he's tried to do?
Quite a lot. Well, that's why Trump is out there saying he's owed a third term, although I think his timing sucks. He should have waited until he won his second term to start talking about that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's all I really got to say about it. But just to close out, the science versus scientism thing is, I think, it's something you have to distinguish between. A scientist is really going to object to that, whereas somebody who fancies himself knowledgeable about science, but who really isn't much of a scientist, is going to embrace the scientism nonsense, and it's going to misrepresent the whole field of science. So just make that distinction. please.
Yeah, I will in the future. I will in the future. And that's a good clarification. Thank you for the phone call, Kelly. And before we go back to the phone lines here, I just got an email. Your caller, David, was absolutely wrong when he made the analogy equating Black Lives Matter protesters with Palestinians. Black people are not being occupied, are not going through checkpoints, and their homes are not being demolished. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization funded by George Soros. Palestinians are fighting for their freedom, unlike Black Lives Matter that wants to destroy the society, including other Black people. Very cogent observation. Okay, we're going to go back to the phones to Al in Canada. Hello, Al. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
I thought that Black Lives Matter was funded through Arch Blue.
They're getting funding from a lot of people, including a lot of corporations.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to mention something about, that 50% of these people are unemployed and it's non-traceable and all that nonsense. I mean, it stinks to high heaven.
Yes, it does.
But, oh, yeah, it's as dirty can be. Up here in Canada, our federal health minister is a graphics art designer.
Yes. Good qualification.
Yeah. And that's under Trudeau, this guy that thinks, everybody gets a trophy and all that kind of crap. She has absolutely no background in science, and she's not a PhD or an MA or anything. It's just like she's a Bachelor of Arts. So when I was a kid, I remember in grade 6 shop, we had, working with wood, right?
Yes.
The teacher said, a BA is bugger all.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, teachers usually had, like a master's in something with, something else, right? Now they just have social science. Yeah. Now they have social, like, this the poli-sci or, a Bachelor of Arts in this whatever kind of crapola, and they're teaching kids in grade 8 mathematics and making, like $90,000 a year for doing it. And they can't even add, like, they need to count on their fingers to do any kind of arithmetic whatsoever. It's absolutely disgraceful. But anyway, this COVID-19 thing, Mike, I want to read you something. I sent you this maybe a month or so ago, and I'm pretty sure I got this off of your website. So, and here, what this is, I'm going to read this verbatim. The United Nations, including WHO, conducts at least 2 system-wide training and simulation exercises, including one for covering the deliberate release of a lethal respiratory pathogen.
Yes.
And the progress indicator for this whatever they're doing is by September 2020. And on the CBC right now, the government is saying the second wave's coming.
Yes.
Right? You remember reading this like a month or so ago? I sent this.
Yeah, I remember it.
This was published in September 2019. So, the CDC has admitted these masks, they don't work. Stanford University has called out, that little arithmetic, that little computer glitch. They inputted the wrong data. It was supposed to be 0.1 and they put in 1 or whatever it was, so that this was 10 times as worse as
Is that actually turned out?
It actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been nothing about that, or the CDC with the 6% of all the deaths were actually from COVID. No comorbidities, but from COVID. And then you get into comorbidities, and it's like 2.7 comorbidities for all the rest of the deaths. On average, that's a huge number, Mike. Like 2.7 is almost, these people had like 3 other things wrong with them. But anyway, there's been no mention of any of that here up in Canada whatsoever. Not a tinkle. But it's in your country.
Well, it's starting to get out there. I mean, the corporate media is still downplaying all of this and, pushing the fear mongering for COVID-19, wants to turn us all into germaphobes.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, and in actual fact, using all this hand sanitizer, which nobody really uses up here anyway. I use it on the way out if I can, because now I've picked up all these other people's cooties, right?
Yes.
So, but I'll use it going in. But normally I wouldn't, right? Because we need this. We need to have a strong and healthy immune system, and one of the ways of ensuring that is by using it.
Yes.
Right? If you sit around and you're a sloth all day, well, you're not going to be very fit and healthy. I mean, this is just one of the things that has kept us alive for this long on this planet. People forget that. They think this, shot in the arm with this vaccination, that's not going to help anybody. It won't. And how do they know they got the right strain, Mike? Because they've already admitted that this stuff is already mutated.
Yes.
Ooh, 2.0. It's another way for the big pharma to make money, because they run out of ways to make big money. There's only so many drugs they can develop. Well,
yeah.
Look, and on top of that, the ones that they are developing, they end up being outlawed because they're highly addictive, like these painkillers, right?
Yes.
Well, they get shuffled in from somewhere, through the back door, whatever, the CIA, I don't know. Anyway, so I saw a YouTube video of Gaddafi in 2009 in front of the UN, and he literally said that these companies that make these vaccinations will also create the virus. He literally said that.
Yes, he did.
2009, Mike. Was he wrong?
Nope. I mean, we've got that Chinese scientist who's gone public saying that she has proof that COVID-19 was created in a lab.
And I bet you some of it came from right here in Canada, because there was a story about that a few months back. And it was actually on the CBC. It was one of those little things, you know what I mean? Just a little whiff and it's gone, right?
Yes.
You got to actually know what the hell it was and search for it in order to find it, like on their website. Kind of like the back pages of a newspaper.
Yes. We had the same thing down here in the U.S. where there was apparently the Wuhan Institute had a handshake relation with institutes here in the United States of America, which were sending them genetic material.
Mm-hmm. I think your Dr. Fauci was directly involved in that sort of thing.
Yes.
Because he's been there for 40 years, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. These people that have been working in the government for 40 years, they know a lot of other people. It's like a big web.
The big club, and you ain't in it.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand why people can't see that sort of thing. And if it weren't for all these skeletons in my closet when I was a youth, I would be running right now for office. And I would swear, and I would point to these people and call them liars and everything else, and point out exactly what the problem is. And then I'd probably get a bullet in the head. But anyway, at least I try. And your last caller, what he said about Trump?
Yep.
He's not a king. Unlike, a majority government up here in Canada, who has a health minister that is an interior designer. I appreciate your time, Mike.
Well, thank you very much for the phone call here. And we're going to go to Peter in Los Angeles. Hello, Peter. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
Mike, do you like Kipling?
I've never kippled.
You remember the line, to fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds with the distance run. I'm going to try to get that from If. I just was calling up in response to what the Tom and Dustin and the gentleman who's the PhD in chemistry said, and that is nobody. And I'm not a fan of Trump's, but I will vote for him. But nobody has encountered more resistance at any and every level than he has. It's unprecedented in history. I want to go over one because they were talking about infrastructure. Dustin was in particular. People have been running on massive infrastructure bills since Ronald Reagan. And then everybody wants to put in a major jobs, infrastructure improvement. Everybody knows we need it. The measure of the dysfunction of our political system is that the reason why it hasn't happened, and both parties recognize, and presidents of both parties have run on it to get an infrastructure program in, is that neither of the parties outside of power, when they're outside of power, they will not concede all the billions of dollars that can be given in slush funds to their buddies and all that money that they can then feather their own nest with. And thus, when we really need it as a country and both parties run on it, neither will let the other one disperse the money. All right,
Yes.
Out there, anybody not understand that out there?
No, it's perfectly
Okay,
clear.
At any rate, well, apparently not to a lot of people on the show, but that's why it happens, and that's how dysfunctional we are, Mike. And whatever. But that's all I had to say for today.
All right. Well, Peter, thank you very much. We're going to switch over to Mo in Florida. Hello, Mo. Welcome to the show. Thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I'll try not to be too long here because you said you're kind of pressed for time. So I made up a little joke today. Can I tell it to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. You saw where Trump gave the key to the White House to Netanyahu, right?
Yes.
Well, they're off mic. They heard Netanyahu say, "What's this for? Did you change the locks?"
That's a good
my
one.
own joke.
That's a good one.
No, the thing I want to do, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw it. The thing I wanted to mention was whether this coronavirus, I mean, there's a lot of information out there that's saying this virus has never been isolated, and they're just, they're testing for just residual things that we have naturally in our bodies, and we all carry these corona things. But, whether there's a vaccine, I don't believe in it. I wouldn't take one. But I guess I wanted to get your feeling on, I think all along I don't know if you saw that interview with Bill and Melinda Gates where they were just, looked like they were having they don't, if they never had money and they just won the lottery, they were just giggling about this whole, it made me sick. I mean, if they really think people are dying and suffering from this, why are they giggling and having such a good time? And, it's revolting. But I think what's really going on, and I don't know, obviously, I don't know anything, but listen to your show for information with your great callers. But I think that they're gonna relax this thing, and everybody's gonna say, "See, it was a scam." And then I think how much later, I don't know, whether it's after the election, they're going to release the Kraken, and it's going to be a bioengineered disease that's going to make Ebola look like a Sunday school picnic. And I don't know. I just seems like it's a setup, like they know something. Because you know how bad that would be if everybody just started like Bill Gates, you're a phony, and it's already all over the internet. This guy, I don't know what he must have. I know he's got bodyguards. He must have body doubles, and his kids must be protected because he's got to be one of the most hated people, at least on the internet. And
yes.
For people I talk to, they hate this guy in Fauci, but he doesn't seem to be. He's trying to cover his image a little bit, but anyways, but the thing I wanted to ask you was, do you think that might be the case where everybody relaxes and they say, "See, you guys were wrong, and we're gonna, you should be arrested for what you did. This is a lie," and then they release the big one, the deadly one. And I hope that don't happen, but that's kind of what I think. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's certainly possible. We know that there's a certain group of people who think there are way too many human beings on planet Earth. And I know there's a population problem, and there always will be, because sex is much more fun than dying. As to whether they're going to go like Tom Clancy described in Rainbow Six, that's a work of fiction. It's certainly technically possible for them to do something like that.
Oh, that's scary, isn't it? Well,
yep.
I was hoping you'd tell me I was crazy, but I appreciate it, Michael. Let you
Okay,
get going, 'cause I know you're pressed for time. Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much here. And one more time, I want to mention, just imagine for a second that you power up your computer or your radio or your phone or whatever, and you tune in, and one day Republic Broadcasting Network, it just isn't there. And it's a real possibility right now. We're running on the fumes. And we really do need people to step up and support the network. And thanks to all the callers who came on in and urged their fellow listeners to step up and donate. Just a little bit from everybody would put us over the top. And once again, the postal address to send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity, cash, is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number for a credit card or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. And we should be hearing the closeout music right about now. So stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I think Steve Elkin may be on the air again tonight as well. A little bird said something along that line. Steve is filling in for John Stedmiller tonight. Yes, I just got the word from our control room. And please spread the word of Republic Broadcasting. Spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Please donate. Otherwise,